Did you know that 70% of the people feel like imposters at some point in their careers? Yes, even those who seem super confident. I too feel sometimes in my business while making this video itself too I feel the same. Let's get into what this imposter syndrome is all about. Have you ever felt like you are just waiting for someone to tell you or expose you as a fraud? Imposter syndrome is that nagging feeling that you don't deserve to be where you are, that you are somehow feeling it. It may be just a feel, it's a feeling it, and that accomplishments are that due to luck or time, and that is not because of your hard work or your smart work. That is the essence. The key fact here is that studies have shown over 70% of the people have experienced this imposter syndrome, and at some point in time in their career, maybe at the start or maybe whenever there's a change of role, and especially in the early years in their career. So if you are starting a career or the first 3 years or 5 years of your career, it's very highly likely that you would face this kind of a syndrome. Recognizing this syndrome, imposter syndrome, is the first step in overcoming it. If you are, you are not alone, and the 70% of the people in the entire workforce across the country have this kind of a feel, and understanding this can be incredibly empowering, and that's what we are going to discuss today. Imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern where a person doubts their own skills, his or her own skills or talents or accomplishments, even if they are performing well. They feel like they are doing some fraud, and a worry that really don't belong in their role or team or in the field of work. This feeling is especially common among high achievers who want to do that, and who often finds it difficult to accept their success or believe they truly deserve it, because they are trying to achieve more. Why does this syndrome or imposter syndrome happen? Why do you feel so? First is the higher expectations. Many people set unrealistically high standards for themselves, feeling they need to be perfect. New challenges or new roles or challenging roles, those demand, particularly when you are starting a career or a new job or moving into a challenging role within your organization from one department to other or within the department, often brings this feeling of self-doubt. The third important point here is comparison of self with others. Seeing colleagues who seem more confident or skilled can make someone question their own worth. If you are down with imposter syndrome, what you would typically feel is that it will show up in a subtle way but powerful, creating self-doubt and a lingering feeling of insecurity, that I am not comfortable, I am not doing correctly, or I have some danger in my job. Even when you are performing well, that is the essence. There are some common thoughts or patterns of how this imposter syndrome would reveal by itself. The first one is feeling like a fraud. You might feel that you are looking, you are fooling everybody, okay, around you, and that is the only nature of time. Before someone realizes that you are not capable as they think. So feeling like a fraud is the major cause or major way it will reveal by itself. Then you will downplay your achievements. That's the second way of revealing itself. So you may think that poorly succeeded because of luck, okay, or it's because of your time, that your success you can attribute to either time or luck. The third one is the fear of failure. With imposter syndrome, even the small mistakes that can make you catastrophe. That is what the fear of failure would reveal. You might worry that one slip up in your work or one performance drop somewhere here and there would reveal that you are not doing good enough for your role, or you are slightly inferior. You are not doing justice for your role. The fourth point is setting high standards and perfectionism rather. People often set extremely high standards for themselves and feel that they are never quite measuring up even when they are actually exceeding that. So this is another major element. That's how this imposter syndrome will reveal for yourself. Here is a powerful example of this author, Maya Angelou, a legendary writer and a poet. Once shared that despite publishing numerous books, she would still check, quote unquote, they are going to find out right now. I have run a game on everybody, and they are going to find me out. And this is quote unquote. If Maya Angelou still and with her global kind of she's an acclaimed author, poet by herself. Despite having this kind of accomplishments, and she has experienced this kind of a doubt, and it goes to show that universally these feelings are there. Okay, and there is also a supporting quote to this. Imposter syndrome is like carrying an invisible weight. It is always there in the background, making it making us second guess even our best efforts. So this is how you will feel like. This affects people in many ways. Okay, it can lead to increased stress and anxiety. You may miss certain opportunities. Okay, because you are not speaking up at the right time, at the right place, because of this fear of failure. So or looking for a perfection approach, and so you will likely to miss some opportunities, and obviously because you are going to work more to achieve that, so you are likely to get into burnouts. Let's take some simple example how this imposter syndrome in a new job would typically would be. Imagine starting a job as a junior consultant. In your first meeting, you listen to a colleague discussing topics that you haven't learned yet. Rather than seeing this as a chance to grow, you feel panic rising in you. Everyone else seems to be knowledgeable, and what if I don't measure up to that? So this is a sample illustration. Later you complete your project and receive your positive feedback, but you still attribute to luck or help from others, or thinking that you are successful because of others, not because of yourself. If they know how much I struggled, they wouldn't be that impressed. So there is a feeling that way. Over time, these thoughts can start to impact your performance and, of course, happiness at work, holding you from fully showing your strengths. Why overcoming this imposter syndrome at the very early in your career matters. Otherwise, you will be continuing to go through that struggle throughout your life. So, better try to overcome this by understanding and tackling this syndrome, imposter syndrome. You are freeing up yourself to focus on growth, learning, and enjoying your career. Instead of feeling like you are pretending, you will start recognizing your own progress and capabilities, letting you make the most of your potential. So this is where the importance comes from. At the very start, you should start believing. But of course, this has got an impact on personalities as well. If you are there are different types of personalities. I'm going to discuss some 4 or 5 here. If you are a perfectionist, then typically a perfectionist would believe that they must do everything perfectly. When they make a small mistake, they feel that it is a total failure. Just an example is Sarah, a new marketing analyst, spent extra hours on every project, obsessing every time with the tiny details thereof. When she make a minor mistake, she thought, I knew it and I am not going to make a cut for this role. So that's how it gets reflected in a perfectionist. If you are an expert, the way the imposter syndrome affects you is in a slightly different way. Let's see that. If you are an expert, you feel like you don't know enough, and if you are still well qualified, you will carry on with that feeling that you don't know much, and you will start hesitating to speak up, worrying that you will be exposed to others for lack of knowledge or something which you don't have. That's a feel you will get. An instance here is that Raj, who is recently stated as a software developer, constantly feels that he should know more. So he avoids contributing in meetings, fearing that he might be saying something wrong. The third type is the soloist, who works independently, who is solo. If you are a soloist, you will start believing that you must accomplish everything independently without anybody's help. You want to do A, you want to do B, A to Z, you want to do all by yourself. Asking for help feels like admitting your weakness. That is the essence. So that means you will start believing that others will think that you don't know. So example is that if you are looking on to a project and you got the project and you are working on the project for your new job or in your new role, avoiding collaboration is the sign. When you are struggling also, you will think that taking help from others means that I am exposing my weakness. The fourth type of syndrome is for this kind of people, the naturally genius people. They expect to excel immediately and feel like a failure if they have to put effort into learning. So irrespective of whether you are excelling or not, you will start feeling like a failure. Example is that if you are in this category, you will as soon as you joined in a company as a junior engineer or a software engineer or some role, and you start feeling that embarrassment, about taking time in learning complex systems. Complex is also relative, learning time is also relative, but that's the way you will start feeling. If I really belong to this place, this role, I would have got it right away or at the very start and very easily or very early. Something like fish out of water feel. The fifth one is the superhero. If you're a superhero kind of a person, you will start pushing yourself to work harder than everyone else to prove that you are competent or you are better than anybody else. So this is the obvious one, right? If you want to be a superhero, you will put in that effort and nothing is enough for you. Why it happens particularly in your first job? Okay, remember your first day on the job. Do you remember? I remember that when I joined that company, I know the senior manager or the factory head or whatever was the role, he talked with me. I still remember. For more, there is a mix of excitement and an underlying fear of why or what if I can't do this job or this role. This is normal. I too felt that because on the very first day I felt like okay, I was pushed back. So starting a new job can trigger imposter syndrome due to high expectations and comparisons. It is especially common among recent graduates or early professionals because everything is new and self-doubt often feels heightened in an unfamiliar environment. The same thing is true with whenever you are changing new responsibilities, taking over new responsibilities. You are learning the ropes, and that uncertainty can feel intimidating. Comparisons. You will start comparing yourself with the other colleague and who is doing better. So kind of jealousy will also set in, which is not good, and this comparison happens. And high expectations. Many people or many early professionals expect perfection from day one, heading to self-doubt. You need to recognize that whether you have a imposter syndrome or not. Recognizing imposter syndrome in your day-to-day life is the very key to address this. So signs to look for is self-doubt, second-guessing your abilities, discounting your achievements by assigning them to luck or sheer timing, avoiding challenges for fear of failing or failure or being exposed. Here the actionable tip I would give you is encourage yourself to find a way by which you try to avoid all these 5 points, these signs. And every imposter syndrome has got a cost to it in terms of your life, in terms of your profession. So it affects your work, it affects your relationships as well. So imposter syndrome will have a lot of effect on your work, meaning that because you are going to compare, you are always feeling that you will always feel something inferior or something happens out of luck. So you will never be in a position of tranquility where okay, I can do certain things peacefully. That situation will never come to you. So that means you will be always under stress. Which means that your mental health will go through some kind of a challenge and you will face quite a lot of problem. And because you are going to work in a team, the team dynamics is going to affect, and it is going to be altered, and others won't talk to you much, or you can't talk to them in a proper way, which means that the productivity of you as well as your team is going to have an impact. So what are the ways by which you can overcome this? What can help you with imposter syndrome? Reframe your thoughts. That's the first step. That first you need, of course, you need to acknowledge that you have the syndrome. Second is reframe your thoughts that I am not a fraud. I am learning and improving. Probably I made mistake, but I am learning and improving. Celebrate some small wins. Whatever you achieve, some maybe some claps, or maybe treating yourself and stuff like that. Maybe you need to talk about such things to your friends or colleagues, or your family members, whoever can help you with. So there are some tips here. Reframe your thoughts, track your success so that you can monitor how you are progressing on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis, something like that. Maybe some journal entries you can put, and share your feelings with mentors and peers. That will help you a lot. Of course, you need to know whom you are sharing with because of confidentiality reasons or whatever it is, but you need to be, you can share with your friends or mentors and peers. And try to focus on learning. The moment you start learning, obviously perfection will get attached to that. But if you don't learn enough, and not apply, then you will have a problem. So try to focus on learning and applying. So automatically the perfection will come. But if you start looking at perfection without learning, then it's a nightmare. And be sensible enough to separate the fact from feelings, because certain things are feelings, but certain things are facts. Don't mix up these feelings with facts. So the next important tip is practice self-comparison. I was like this yesterday, and I have learned this, I have improved this much. That delta improvement is what you need to measure, monitor, and continuously learn on every day, every week basis. So this self-comparison will help you achieve in a very, very long way, instead of comparing you with that person or you with this person. So instead of that, you always compare you with your yesterday version of yourself. Wherever you have self-doubt, turn that self-doubt into a kind of motivation. To achieve that, you feel that it is of inferior or you can't do that, then the best way to do that is set some goals, see that how you can achieve that, so that it becomes a motivation for yourself. Maybe you can build a support network so that you can talk to a set of people. We will have a separate discussion related to conversation partners, but build a support network. As we are discussing on this imposter syndrome, build a support network that will help you a long way. So the actions here is that you need to develop a personal plan. Having learned all these things, you need to put a personal plan so that you can put certain things into practice. So maybe you can set some goals like that. So let's try to recap now what we have discussed, and the key takeaways here are: reframe your thoughts and track successes, open up to mentors and peers, focus on learning instead of just perfection, develop self-compassion and avoid comparison, channel your self-doubt into productive actions. When you feel like an imposter, remember, growth happens at the edge of your comfort zone. Embrace it, because it means you are challenging yourself. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any comments, please feel free to put it down in the comment section so that we can discuss over there. Thank you for watching. This is Gokul. See you in the next video. Cheers.